afternoon, or good afternoon to you all. We're also live on YouTube for anyone that's trying to follow the channel. This is the general PULSEUNITY. Fantastic to be here on this Saturday afternoon in the UK. Obviously, we're in a bit of a mourning situation with our dearly departed Queen. But the one thing that our Queen has always been, and that has been upbeat, stoic, and a very strong ambassador for the UK. And literally, it goes to our heart of what we are trying to also talk about here this afternoon in the crypto space. I'd like to. I now see that we're starting to open up the room in the Twitter spaces. Let me get this organized as well so that we get the right people up. Pepe, let me try and get you up. And sorry, 1 minute. Okay, I've invited you as co-host, Pepe.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Absolutely great to have you here. And if you don't mind, I'll just do one more little introduction and then bring you straight up.
Fantastic.
Guys, obviously, we've got a little bit of people that follow us here at PULSEUNITY, so you already know us. We're absolutely delighted to welcome the head or one of the key leaders from PLSD community here this afternoon, and Pepe will be able to. We're going to be talking about a few things here: unity in the crypto space, security, and things that are really quite important to the core of communities. And the very, very sort of exciting thing, and I think the one that we would like to also take a lot of questions on, is of course the pulsechain and what we're all doing over here. So without further ado, just for those that don't know us, I'll give you literally, without sort of trying to shill our project, PULSEUNITY in a nutshell is about bringing communities together. We essentially started by working to put together a community website platform. We've been through the last 10 days completely rebranding that in the way that we're going to move things over to use the fantastic things that are coming out on pulsechain. And we obviously really invite people to come over, have a look and have a chat about those things. On that journey, we, of course, have tried to get to know as much as we can about the different parts of the pulsechain communities. And it varies. They've got some very big communities there, like Hex and PulseX and these guys. We are, of course, a meme coin, and naturally there's quite a few of us out there, a few others popping up here and there. So it was really nice to be able to touch base almost immediately with what is, of course, the #1 meme coin on pulsechain, and receive such a great welcome from their good selves. They really let us introduce ourselves in their chat room and their VC, and tell us a lot about how pulsechain works and really how the meme coin community can grow and be secure over there. So without further ado, because these are the really big fish in the room, and or the whales, so to speak. So I'd really like to hand over to Pepe to talk about really a lot more about their good selves, and then I'll also probably jump in and ask a lot of questions. So I'm just gonna mute myself, and Pepe, over to your good self.
Thank you, General. So today, what I would like to go over with the audience is my philosophy on how to invest. I'm an investor. I'm a moderator in the Pulse Doge voice chat room, and I help people every day navigate this crypto landscape. So I'd like to share a little bit about what my philosophy is on how I went from legacy investing, since I'm a boomer. I hate to admit that, but it's true. You are what you are. And so, how I got into crypto, and more importantly, I think some of the dynamics that you need to understand in order to be successful as a crypto investor. And then that would be at a high level. And then I would like to specifically get into the hottest meme token on the market right now, Pulse Dogecoin. And so we've got a lot of material to go over. If you could hold your questions till the end, it would be appreciated. We're going to have an AMA, and you can ask any question that you like. So with that, nothing that I'm about to say is financial advice. I know you've heard that before, likely, but I'm just going to sort of explain what my approach to investing has been. And primarily, I am looking for strong leadership. In the 80s, when I was investing in legacy, it was Jack Welch and GE. If you didn't invest in GE in the 80s, you were pretty much a moron. I then rolled all that up into AOL and Steve Case in the 90s, Steve Jobs with Apple in the aughts, Elon Musk in the 10s, and now I'm in the crypto space. And there's some very interesting differences between the legacy market and the crypto market. First and foremost, in legacy, uh, once you identify an asset that you'd like to invest in, you typically go all in. With crypto, you want a DCA in, or dollar cost average. And so I've taken a strategy from Warren Buffett, likely the premier investor of my era, and modified it to update it for the crypto market. And so, what does Warren Buffett say about investing? Warren says if you're just looking for average returns, then you should likely invest in an index fund like the S&P 500, Vanguard, something like that, and own a tiny little bit of America with each one of those companies. And that's fine. You'll probably get somewhere between a 10 and a 15% ROI if you're fortunate, if you choose them right. But it's an index fund, so the S&P has returned approximately 10 to 15% for the past 10 years. It's not bad. However, if you're looking to intensify your returns, then perhaps you should consider the following. Warren says never invest in more than 6 assets. Sometimes diversification can be good on a limited basis, up to 6, but the odds of your 7th best idea ever outpacing your best idea is just about nil. So you don't want to put $100 here, $100 there, $500 over this other place. You want to identify the top 6 best opportunities you can at the most. Absolutely at the most, because the odds of you actually coming up with 6 winners is pretty slim. But never go to a 7th. Your 7th best idea is never going to be in there. And so if you take that as a baseline, you have to say, well, why crypto? Because I can invest in many things. Bonds might get you 1, 2, perhaps 3% return. Gold, 1%, less than 2, certainly for the past 20 years. Value stocks, somewhere between 6 and 8. Tech stocks, somewhere between 10 and 15. Real estate. And then we come to crypto, the highest volatility asset class on this planet. Now, volatility is the price you pay for vitality. It's not for everybody, but I'm going to offer some just broad-based guidelines here and then get into a couple of what my picks are and why I chose them. And so if you take a look at a formula for determining a allocation in your portfolio in a particular investment, I would submit to you that the following framework works. And I've made it work for almost 50 years. And it goes like this: increased education leads to increased conviction, which leads to increased allocation, which inevitably leads to financial freedom. Now, you can modify that any way you want, but without spending at least 100 hours educating yourself, I would advise you haven't done your homework. You might get lucky, but odds are you're not gonna, and you're not gonna make money. So, increased education leads to an increased conviction, which leads to increased allocation, which leads to inevitably financial freedom. But how do you choose a crypto? Well, before you just go picking a logo that you like, or take a recommendation from some billionaire, maybe you should understand something called the crypto market cycle theory. It's held for the past 3 cycles. Each cycle is 4 years long, and it works like this. Follow me along. 2017, massive up, bull market. 2018, massive down, bear market. 2019, sideways, generally trending up. 2020, sideways, generally trending up, Bitcoin halving it. 2021, massive bull market, massive up. 2022, this year, I think we can all agree, has been a stinky year to want to sell. It's a great year to buy, but 2022, massive bear market, massive down. What's 23 going to be? Well, no one knows, but if the crypto market cycle theory holds, it will likely be sideways, generally trending up, offering tips and dips. And you want to buy dips, not tips. So, word to the wise: never go all in. DCA slowly until you understand the rhythm of the asset that you fancy. Okay, so 2024 will be sideways, generally trending up, Bitcoin halving it. 2025 will be a massive bull market, likely, which is massive up. Now, why do I say this? I say this because you, as an investor, need to understand that no matter what you do, you can't turn a bear into a bull. But what should you be doing in a bear market? You should be accumulating those assets that fit the framework along the lines of what I described previously, which is educate yourself, build a conviction, build a bigger allocation, focus. Don't go scattershot into 20 different assets. It's not going to work. You're going to lose. And finally, it's going to lead to financial freedom if you take all those steps. So that's pretty much what my formula has been for success. And now we get into, well, how do you choose a crypto? All right, you're telling me that I should educate myself, but how? What? Why? It goes like this. There's only 2 reasons to get into crypto. That's ROI and yield. With that as a background, right, you should be looking for those 2 things. What's ROI? ROI is it profitable? Does the number go up? What's yield? Yield comes from things like a staking mechanism, which we'll get into shortly. But the 3 main criteria as you navigate this crypto market is: 1, strong community. You've got to understand the community. What are they about? Is it a vibrant discussion? Do they have a Telegram? Do they have a voice chat? are they a community of buyers, strengtheners of their position, holders, stakers, and most importantly, onboarders? Are they growing their members? And those are the most important criteria in terms of a community, which is the most important criteria overall. Next is strong utility. What I look for in terms of utility is it new, right? Because something old that's been in the market for a long time has a lot of gravity associated with it, and likely it's not going to go up a whole lot. Take Grandpa Bitcoin as an example. If that thing goes to $100,000, like the Maxis want you to believe, hallelujah. But the problem is that's only like a 5x. 5x is nothing when you've got this much volatility. So you should be looking for something that's lighter, that's new. And as Wayne Gretzky says, that the key to his success was he didn't skate to where the puck was. He skated to where the puck was going to be. Now, this guy was 185 pounds, not the fastest skater, but he had decent eye-hand coordination, and he always seemed to be in the right place at the right time. So your education should identify those emerging opportunities that you should be well positioned in so that your wrist shot hits the back of the net. So is it new? Does it have positive ROI? And is there a way to get yield? Next, strong leadership, strong founder. You know, you should understand whether or not you are compatible with the founder. Go to his Twitter feed, go to a YouTube channel where you can hear him talk and see if what he says makes sense to you. And strong leadership is oftentimes descended down to the community. So we all want to follow the leadership. You take Pulse Dogecoin as an example. I never thought I was going to invest in a meme coin. I thought I was a sophisticated investor. I would never invest in a meme coin. But I got this free claim, this airdrop showed up in my wallet one day, and I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, it's $1.50 a token? I thought meme coins were a nickel, right? Well, my lady's like, dump it, let's take the money. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, let me take a look around. So I decided to look around. What did I find? I found guys like the Future, who was in this room. I'm not sure if he's still there. I don't see him right now. But the Future is one of the leading investors. He was a famous Hexagon. You take Timmy Benjamin. He's another Hexagon of note. I'm like, what are these guys doing in there? In a meme coin? Can't be. What do they know that I don't know? So I began looking further. Who did I find? Gunther the accountant. Gunther, who is one of the top wallet holders in Pulse Doge, did the OA audit, the origin address audit, to prove that the OA has never sold the first hex. And he proved it on chain. And to date, not one hex has been sold. So that's an example of strong leadership. Are they defending the project, or are they dumping on the heads of the community? And so who else did I see? Ryan Lopez, another Hexagon OG. And for those of you who don't know Hex is a financial instrument that pays very high amounts of yield and hasn't done too bad with ROI either. And I was in Hex before I got into Pulse Doge. So hopefully that gives you an understanding of the points that I look for in terms of determining a winner from a loser. Strong community, strong utility, strong leadership. And I've been doing it this way for the better part of 50 years, and it's worked in every market that I've ever been in. So let's get into a couple of examples. I'm here representing Pulse Doge Coin, which is a meme token, but it's a meme token in name only. It's got some unbelievable utility around it. And I think the best way to describe it is through a comparative analysis. If you were to search Google and go to Google Trends and search for the top cryptocurrencies that are searched for every month in Google, number one is Dogecoin. Everybody's heard of Dogecoin. Number two is Bitcoin. Number three is Ethereum. Number four is SHIB. So if you take a look at Dogecoin, right, Elon's tweeted about it and the number goes up. And when he doesn't tweet about it, the number goes down. But it's always right around the 6 cent mark. Why is that? Well, it's got a total supply of 135 billion, and it inflates, i.e., they mint 10,000 tokens a minute. Do you know how much buy pressure it takes to make that number go up? How about SHIB? SHIB has a total supply of 1 quadrillion. How much buy pressure would it take to make that number go up? You wonder why it's got a decimal point and so many zeros. Now we arrive at Pulse Dogecoin. It's really taken the meme token label and image and fixed all the problems with the better known meme tokens, Doge, SHIB. How did it do it? It has a total supply of a tad over 6 million tokens. So scarcity is a real thing. So here's the deal. Bitcoin has a supply of 21 million, and it has gone up to 69,400 and some odd dollars, and it's got a supply of 21 million. Pulse Dogecoin has a supply of 1/3 that amount. So assuming that demand stays constant or increasing, then economic theory says the number has to go up. It just has to, because it's scarce. So scarcity is a real thing. So we've got scarcity in spades. Now, what are some of the other utilities? Well, we're getting ready to launch. It is imminent, our staking mechanic for another token called Pulse Bitcoin. So we've got Dogecoin in our name. We've got Bitcoin as our reward token.
I have pinned the full recording.
And we've also got this other word called Pulse. And I'm going to get into describing PulseChain and why it's important. But suffice to say, at a very high level, it's not well known today. It's known to the Hexagon community, the Richard Hart community, but it's not really known to the meme token community. But I'll tell you this. Next year, when the PulseChain likely launches, it may launch by the end of this year. But when it launches next year, it's going to be a better, greener version of Ethereum. In fact, there's going to be the largest airdrop in the history of crypto to all Ethereum token holders. So if you're a Pulse Doge holder, your bags are going to be duplicated. Maybe not dollar-wise, but the number of tokens are going to show up on this new chain. What's so special about the chain? It's faster, cheaper, bigger, stronger. Basically, it's disruptive innovation. And hold on one second. Okay, sorry. So we've got this greener version of Ethereum that is a proof of stake version of Ethereum, and it's going to launch sometime in the coming months. And right, if you have any tokens on the Ethereum network, you will in fact get your bags duplicated. So that's another good guy. So what's all this talk about Pulse Dogecoin? Why is it hot right now? I mean, it's up over 300% in the middle of a brutal, bloody bear market. Everything else is down, and not a little bit. Well, if you buy a bag of Pulse Dogecoin, you know what it gets you? It's going to get you a mining token, which we don't know the name of it yet, but let's just call it a mining token, which then gets you Pulse Bitcoin. It's basically going to be a virtual copy of how Bitcoin with the miners actually works. But the difference is you're not going to have any ASIC computer, which costs $15,000. You're not going to choke poor Mother Nature out with electricity. You have no overhead. You have no lease to pay, no rent to pay. You have no employees. You have no insurance. You're basically just minting pure profit in the form of Pulse Bitcoin. So that's what's coming right around the corner. Now, one of the marks of a great ecosystem is, are there any third-party developers building an application on the underlying asset, in this case, Pulse Dogecoin? As it turns out, one of the devs that runs a review site to determine whether or not new tokens are safe is called Pulse Police. This gentleman's name is USCG Vet, and USCG Vet is building a viral adoption platform on top of Pulse Dogecoin. So once you see that, that's longevity, that's adoption, and that just means that this thing is just going to take off. So let me describe the staking mechanic a little bit more for you, because what's important is uh, the code is immutable. There are no admin keys, which means you're not going to get rugged. You're not going to lose your money. There's only upside in the amount of yield that will be produced in the form of Pulse Bitcoin. And the yield is trustless yield, which means you're in control of it. There's no middleman in between you and yield. It's not going to be a situation like with Celsius, which just filed for bankruptcy a little bit ago, where you have to turn over your tokens to them, and then once they file bankruptcy, you become an unsecured creditor. Good luck getting your money. So you're in total control. That's the mark of another superior token. Superior, what I'm going to call pumpamental. You never want to give your tokens away to a middleman, not your keys, not your coins. And so if you've got the right token, which is growing, with the right community that buys, holds, stakes, and onboards, then financial freedom is a very real thing. And that's what we've got going on in Pulse Dogecoin. And right now it's running on the Ethereum network. So PulseChain. PulseChain is a Richard Hart project, which we're all proud of Richard. He's a billionaire in crypto, but he's never going to do a meme token. In fact, he has called us out and said, hey, if you're going to buy a meme token, you might as well buy Pulse Dogecoin because it seems to be doing pretty well. And we're up almost 400% in this bear market. So as it turns out, he is the largest bag holder in Pulse Dogecoin. So we feel very certain that we are at the high table, so to speak, with respect to Richard Hart and his design of PulseChain. We will be the premier meme token on that chain. After all, Dogecoin runs on its own blockchain. It is not going to be forked onto the PulseChain. Now, SHIB will be, but it's SHIB. No one's made money in SHIB except the early guys. And that's called a distribution model. The family and friends of those guys all made money. Everyone else lost money, pretty much. There's always exceptions to the rule. But PulseChain, green version of Ethereum, bigger blocks, faster transaction speeds, lower cost. It will cost you about 1,000th of a penny to do a send. And right now, how much does that cost you on the Ethereum network? Dollars, tens of dollars, sometimes hundreds of dollars. It all depends on Gwei. But so PulseChain is the right solution at the right time, and it's coming. What's PulseX? PulseX is a DEX. It is a fork of Uniswap. So there's three things that you need for a successful blockchain. The first one is you need you need a DEX. which we're forking Uniswap. Check that box. The second thing you need is a consensus network. Bigger, faster, stronger, disruptive innovation, cheaper. And that's PulseChain. The native coin on that network will be called PLS. Paul, Larry, Sam, PLS. And then the last thing you need is a bridge. And that way you can bridge from other chains onto that network. So get ready for Pulse Dogecoin on two chains, Ethereum and PulseChain. And then get ready for the launch of PulseChain. And then your bags get doubled. And so at a high level, that's it. I hope to answer any questions that you have. And I'm going to turn it back over to the gentleman.
Pepe, thank you very much. I think that was very, very comprehensive, and I certainly picked up on a few new points that I wasn't aware of. And I hope, of course, everybody found that really interesting. And so a couple of key things that I'd like to bring into the conversation, if I may, is that, and the reason really why we've decided to move the whole of the Unity project over to PulseChain is for a lot of the reasons that Pepe has just mentioned. In that it's going to be, it's sort of the future in terms of being faster, greener, and more fluid, and it enables projects to really develop out a lot easier, while still using other chains like the ERC20 at this moment. Now, what we've done is, of course, we've brought together quite a few different people from different communities. We've got the social media site that we've moved across PulseUnity, or it's at the moment social.pulseunity.com. We've been really working hard to create things like mobile apps and things that people can use in these social networks, in these communities, that cross over with each other. Because, as Pepe has just said, Pepe is probably the number one. They're going to be like the flagship to the PulseChain network in terms of meme coins. And of course, if you look at the Ethereum network, people want to have a trading pair. So, like for us at PulseUnity, we want to be able to create a trading pair against things. And for that, you need obviously a base currency, which sets your own dollar value, and you need to have a strong partner to set that value against, and one that you truly believe has got the longevity and the trust of its investors and its community. And without going into really deep diving into what we're going to be doing, it carries through our social media platform. It carries through our mobile applications, because when people are using some of the things that we're coming out with as PulseUnity, and we're working with trading pairs and different things that are going to work with Web3 and staking and all of the other things that are going to be included, we want to make sure that users across all communities, not just ours, and not really just in terms of PLSD, but all communities that are going to start creating their trading pairs with or on PulseChain are catered for. And then it comes to other things like NFTs. There's huge talk in the NFT market. Richard Hart, of course, has labeled meme coins as a JPEG. which of course we have been. NFTs have been branded just pretty pictures with no utility. There's huge utility in NFTs. And when people do a deep dive into these projects, there is a lot of data points. They've got tremendous utility in business, in almost every walk of part of our lives, in the same way that we're using things like QR codes. So I would hope that without going sort of too much over the top with our own particular project at the moment, you will sort of understand why we really are so excited to be continuously talking with like Pulse Dogecoin, and that as we build out, we really want to bring together the biggest communities in this space, in the crypto space, that we can all join together in this ecosystem. And these will be trusted people like Pulse Dogecoin, that bring a community of really strong individuals and investors that you, as new people coming into the space, can feel confident that you've got a place to go, that you can talk to them, that literally the security is there in the network, and that from sort of where we're coming from, for those that are on the YouTube channel, I've just brought up a little graphic there about what we're about. We at 3 o'clock this morning changed over networks and, for instance, hid the site behind Cloudflare. And those that, without getting technical, because that's not really what we're here about this afternoon, but we're making sure that everything that follows the highest security protocols. And the same that with the coins and everything else that are now coming onto the market. We know that Pepe and the team there at PLSD, they have put a tremendous amount of thought and a tremendous amount of effort and focus in with their devs and everybody else in ensuring that the offer to the market, the currency in the market, the staking platforms are in the market, that these products aren't going to disappear overnight. And it's part of what we're doing here at PulseUnity in creating the community platform to provide every single community with a place and a voice for them, for you to be able to come and talk on. So again, I'd like to really, so a massive thank you to Pepe and anybody from the PLSD community that's come into the room to have this conversation this afternoon. I think I'd like to pretty much just open the floor, if you're in agreement, Pepe, and see if there's any questions.
Yeah, and perhaps before we do that, I think a deep dive into why yield is important is in order, because it will really put things in perspective. And I'd like to start with what my understanding of yield is. And I think if you take a look at the legacy market as well as the crypto market, the rich tend to invest in those things that provide robust ROI and impressive yield. And the poor tend to invest in things that only have an ROI. And I don't know why that is, but it just seems like every time I run across someone who's wealthy, they've got a stock that has a dividend. Well, a dividend is yield. There's a stock split, right? Which means that management has confidence in the future of the corporation. That's a form of yield. Even though the experts would tell you, oh, if like in Tesla, I own Tesla. We just had a 3-for-1 at the stock split at the end of August. And the experts would tell you, oh, it doesn't add any value. Ridiculous. Don't believe them. Stock splits add money. Stock buybacks by the corporation add money. And in crypto, there are no corporations. So, how do you get yield? Well, you get yield through something called a staking mechanic, a staking mechanism, right? So, you're sitting there holding in your hopefully hardware wallet, right? You should never hold it just in an instance of MetaMask on your computer, certainly never on your cell phone. And assuming you've got a ledger or a Trezor, uh, you're holding these tokens and they're just sitting there. The average meme token has no yield provisions. There's no way to make that little extra something to help offset the negative effects of inflation. But here's how the staking mechanic with Pulse Dogecoin is likely going to work. You've got your Pulse Dogecoin. You basically convert it into this mining token, which is a virtual representation of an ASIC miner. Only it never goes obsolete. Pretty much every year, you have to buy a new ASIC computer because it has a faster processor, can handle more complex calculations, and then can get you greater rewards. Except with this virtual mining token, you're going to get a metric of so many pulse doge or pulse bitcoin for how many mining tokens you have, and that's all determined by how many pulse dogecoin you have. So the formula to try and understand this at a high level is accumulate as many pulse dogecoin as you can, which get you more mining tokens, which then get you more pulse bitcoin. Now, we know that the scarcity model is employed by the founder. He believes in it. We've got a supply of but 6 million Pulse Dogecoins. So, what happens when you lock up your tokens or they're burned? Not sure which it really is yet until it's announced, but it's either going to be locked or burned. And let's say the average bag holder stakes 50% of his Pulse Dogecoins. Well, all of a sudden, supply drops down to 3 million. And assuming that you have constant buy pressure, what happens to the price? Economic theory says it goes up and to the right, not a little, a lot. So now all of a sudden you've got this thing called Pulse Bitcoin that you've been mining. Now it's subject to a halvening event. Don't know if it's going to be 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever. Doesn't really matter. But we know that pre-halvening, you're going to get the most number of Pulse Bitcoin. So what's the price of Bitcoin or Pulse Bitcoin? Nobody knows because a liquidity pool is going to have to be set up, and the whims of the free market will determine the value of that. What's for certain is the metric that you would get for uh, staking as many mining tokens as you can. So it's an easy to understand formula. You'll have three assets, one of which will likely be locked up, and it is all of a sudden taking a 6 million hard capped supply of Pulse Dogecoin and making it deflationary. Every other asset, including Bitcoin, pretty much is inflationary. Right now, Bitcoin miners are going to inflate Bitcoin for the next 120 years. All right. Pulse or Dogecoin inflates 10,000 tokens a minute. SHIB, I don't know what it inflates, but good Lord, it's got a total supply of 1 quadrillion. Does it really matter? The answer is just a huge supply like that is a negative. Scarcity is the way to go. So we think that Pulse Bitcoin is going to be scarce. Now, yeah, you could buy mining tokens on the open market when it's launched, likely. Don't know what the price would be. You could also buy Pulse Bitcoin on the open market. Don't know what the price would be. But we do know what the price of Pulse Dogecoin is. It's just a little over $3 right now, which represents almost a 400% ROI from launch, which was April 20th of this year. So in less than 5 months, it's gone up like 400%. We're very proud of that. And the community of buyers, holders, onboarders, the pumpamentals, and the founder, the strong leadership is what has led to that. So you need to really figure out in your portfolio room for an asset that has a staking component, because not all tokens will. And I'm not saying if it doesn't have it, don't consider it. I'm just saying that if you find one that has it, like Pulse Dogecoin, jump on it, because that's how wealth is created. So let's open it up to the floor. Questions, please.
Yes, please. If people would like to maybe raise your hands, and then I can bring you up. I think one by one. Is there any hands going up? Let me just scroll through. Because I'm recording this live on YouTube and trying to do this on my phone. So forgive me if it takes me a second to find you. It doesn't look like anybody's actually got their hand up at the moment, Pepe.
No worries. Let's talk about PulseChain a little bit more. So, what's the big deal with PulseChain? PulseChain is a better Ethereum than Ethereum. And the decentralized exchange called PulseX also has a token called PulseX. So there's going to be a DEX, a decentralized exchange, and a token called PulseX. So what's so special about PulseX, the exchange? It will have the most liquidity of any DEX anywhere. And it's because of how the market maker bot is going to take liquidity from the tokens and duplicate them, the ERC20s, and duplicate them into PRC20s. So literally, if you're holding ERC20s in your wallet, not on a centralized exchange, they will be duplicated. And then you can, with one tiny little change in the RPC setting of MetaMask, you'll be able to then see all of your tokens on the Pulse chain. And then you'll be able to trade them, swap them, sell them, buy them on the DEX called PulseX. Now, does PulseX have staking? Well, yes, it does. It has a single-sided staking application, which is going to get you rewards, not in PulseX, but in third-party applications. So what's going to happen is that other tokens that want access to an enlightened community of buyers, holders, and onboarders will put up a limited supply of their tokens, and that's the reward that you'll get. So you, for staking your PulseX, will gain those tokens as a reward. Does PulseChain have staking? Can you take your Pulse tokens and stake it? Why, yes, you can. You take your PLS and you utilize a function called delegating. You delegate your tokens to a validator. A validator operates a node. So, like in the proof of work world, a node are those guys who actually process transactions and charge you onerous miner fees, right? I mean, if you've ever pressed the send button on the Ethereum chain, you'll know what I'm talking about. I've paid upwards of $200 for a send, a simple send, and I've paid as little as 50 cents. So it all depends on the price of Whey, and it's kind of tied to the price of Ethereum. But Pulse Chain, the fee structure is going to be minuscule. It will be a fraction of a fraction of a percent of a penny. And so, who wants to pay onerous miner fees? Nobody. So, why do we think that Pulse Chain is going to be a smashing success? Well, it's because, all else being equal, who in their right mind wants to pay mafia level fees for a transaction. Just, you just want to send your tokens from one wallet to another and you're paying $20. Come on, that's ridiculous. And so PulseChain solves that. Now, once they come in, the onboarders, the people that have these PRC20s, they'll come on to the Pulse chain and they're going to look around and say, well, yeah, I've got this PRC20, but what can I buy for it? Well, Pulse Dogecoin will be there day one. The minute that mainnet launches, Pulse Dogecoin will be there, and we will get more than our fair share. And when I say, when it launches, it's going to rip faces off. Here's what I mean. There was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 billion sacrifice for the PulseX project, which is still in development, and about $650 million sacrificed for the Pulse Chain project. So almost $2 billion were sacrificed. And I'm telling you, day one of that launch, people are going to be lined up to buy because it is going to solve all the problems with Ethereum, the small blocks, the long transaction speeds, the price of each transaction. And most of all, it's green. It's not choking poor Mother Nature out. So it is going to be the winning platform, and we will have a native token on it. And so we know what that portends. Now, I'm going to offer not a price prediction, but I'm going to suggest what I believe Pulse Dogecoin can do on that blockchain. And it is, I'm not saying it will do it. I'm saying that it should do it based on what an S curve adoption looks like. And assuming that we execute nearly flawlessly, the community keeps on buying, holding, and onboarding, the launch of Pulse Chain, I have every reason to believe, and again, this isn't financial advice, but this is why I'm in this asset. I believe that it will do a 10,000x by the top of the bull market in Q4 of 2025. Now, it may be plus or minus 6 months either way, but it has every capability of hitting that number. Now, let's say that you think Pepe is just trying to shill his project, and he's wrong. How wrong do you want me to be? 90% wrong? Because that's what I tell my lady when we're talking about, hey, no kidding, how do we plan our financial future? So if I'm 90% wrong, Pulse Dogecoin is going to do 1,000x on two chains. Now, if you put $1,000 and get 1,000x, how much money is that? It's $1 million. That's why volatility can be your friend if you choose the right assets. On the other hand, if you choose the wrong asset and put that $1,000 into a rug pull, then you'll be left with nothing, and your opportunity cost is $1 million. So the reason why I started out this discussion with what my framework for success is because if you follow a framework similar to what I talk about in the Pulse Doge Coin Telegram voice chat every day, you will likely pick many more winners than you will losers. Now, I think that Pulse Dogecoin on a cold, rainy day in January is going to do 1,000x. That's 90. That's assuming I'm 90% wrong. I think Pulse is also going to do 1,000x because I really think it's going to do 10,000x. But I don't want to tell my lady it's going to do 10,000x because then she'll think I'm crazy. So I break it down to 1/10 of what I think it's actually going to be, and it's 1,000x. I think that Pulse Bitcoin is going to do a 750x or more. I don't quite have all the information I need to make a firmer uh, prediction, but 750 is it. 750x. I also think that Pulse X is going to do 750x. I think Hex, which is also part of the Richard Hart ecosystem, is going to do about 100x. by Q4 2025. That's what's on the table. That's why we're talking to you today. And I invite you to take the time, energy, and effort and look at these assets. Examine the community, examine the founder, take a hard look at the utility of the tokens, and see if it doesn't make sense for your portfolio.
I think that's really well said. Thank you, Pepe. And now you've mentioned that. I mean, talking about people looking at the different portfolios. There's actually a very good website, Pulse Life as well, and also Pulse Hotlist, that completely independent of our projects, be it Pulse Bitcoin or Pulse Dogecoin or PULSEUNITY. And these guys really spend a lot of time ranking people. They do a lot of research on the new projects. And a part of what we're trying to achieve is not just about telling you guys about investment opportunities, but also about education and helping you find the right places to get information that is safe, and that you're not going to just be given links off to new scam sites. So always stay in touch with us, and stay in touch with the groups that are really strong in these communities, like Pulse Dogecoin, like PULSEUNITY, and some of the others. I just pulled up for those looking on the YouTube. The list from Pulse Life. I mean, you can see they're right up there. Number one is Genius. Then there's, of course, Pulse Dogecoin, as we've mentioned at the beginning. These guys are really the Goliaths in the meme coin space on Pulse Chain. So, of course, go join the community. They've been around since the earliest days, and they'll be able to help you. They're certainly not going to point you to anywhere sort of dodgy or give you sort of any bad advice there. Then there's Hex, of course. They've got a fantastic YouTube channel. But then as it comes down the list, there's all sorts of different projects in here, but they've all been validated, vetted by independent or different groups within the Pulse Chain community. And look, somewhere down here, okay, we've been moving up in the chart recently. Okay, so here we go. We've got PULSEUNITY here. There was actually quite a deep dive into our site from another channel this morning, looking at Hocus Pocus and ourselves. So there's lots of material out there. And we will obviously try and point you towards the places that make it quite easy to find. So, I mean, really, from myself, we can go on all afternoon about PULSEUNITY and sort of dig in with different parts of our projects. But really, this AMA was for you guys. I've just been getting some texts and notes saying that you can't ask questions, but I've just invited sort of about 20 people up to speak. Does somebody want to reach out to me? Because I've literally invited half the floor to see if you're able to come up and ask questions.
Well, so they're going to be unable to ask questions if they're using their laptop. They only have access to a mic if they're actually using a handset. So that's probably what's going on. How do I know that? Well, being a boomer, I didn't know that. And I was trying to desperately talk in one Twitter space one day, and I couldn't speak. And so that's likely what's going on. You need to have the application of Twitter, then you need to go to this space, and you'll see a mic in a lower left-hand corner where you can request to speak.
Okay, well, hopefully, Pepe, in the next couple of weeks, People just simply download the PulseUnity app, and then it will do all of this stuff for you. One question, which I have been taking, really taking notes on what you were saying, and it's been asked of me a lot of times. Why did you choose the 6 million as your figure for Pulse Bitcoin or Pulse Doge,
Great
and
question.
not 600 million, for instance?
Yeah, so scarcity is the reason why. And the problem with meme coins historically has been that they have an oversupply. Let's just use the case example of Dogecoin. They have 135 billion supply, minting 10,000 tokens every minute of every hour of every day of every week of every month of every year forever. Right now, it takes about $350 million in buy pressure to maintain the peg that Dogecoin is at. And so, what is it at now? 6.5 cents, something like that. So the first 350 million go to tamp out the inflation. So Pulse, the founder of Pulse Dogecoin, his name is HexInfo. That's his handle on Twitter, HexInfo. He fixed that by coming up with a total supply of just over 6 million. Now, when you combine scarcity with demand, we have over 15,000 wallet holders right now, some of which have never bought Hex, even though we are part of that community lineage wise. Uh, Demand is there, demand is increasing. And once this staking mechanic is launched, you combine scarcity with deflation, and it's going to rip faces off. There was just recently a hex derivative product that launched their staking mechanic. And up until that point, they were a dump token. I mean, all you could do is press the send button, the buy button, or the sell button. That's all you could do with the token. It just sat there like a lump of coal. They came out with this staking mechanic, and it has shot up 25x in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks. Now, we're in that same community. If we go up 25x in 3 weeks after the launch of the staking mechanic, well, just for round numbers, 25x times, let's say, $4 is $100 token. You'd be at $100 in a matter of weeks. So that's why scarcity works. Now, you need to combine scarcity with thin liquidity pools. What's liquidity pools? Well, it's how the token gets traded. So typically, like the largest pool for Pulse Dogecoin is PLSD, the token symbol for Pulse Dogecoin, and USDC, one of the most recognizable stable coins. So only there's about $150,000 total. So literally for $150,000, you could wipe out all the available tokens that are for sale on the major trading pair. Now there are three other trading pairs, but that's the biggest one. So you can imagine that it doesn't take a lot of economic energy to move the number up when you have thin liquidity combined with scarcity. Contrast that to Dogecoin. It's minting 10,000 tokens a minute. Good Lord, how much buy pressure is needed just to maintain its current price? So that's why it's genius design, easy to understand, very elegant in what it does, and it has devastatingly successful pumpamentals. I trust that answered your question.
Pause. All right, we'll cut that.
Yeah, sorry about that. I really also don't like using. One of the big reasons we have spent 8 months designing the PulseUnity platform is because I hate the fact that I've got to have Twitter on one phone, YouTube on my desktop, and probably Telegram on yet another part of the platform. So forgive me, I just all fingers and thumbs with these things. No, it does. It's absolutely fun. I think it's almost the quintessential answer. Literally, we've got the fun of a meme coin, which we all sort of love and adore, with a much lower sort of a much more manageable figure, and it's actually got some trading value to it, and got sort of out of the gate the ability to be paired against other currencies. Yes, Mr. Jet, one moment. Let me put myself on mute and go ahead and ask you.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hopefully you guys can hear me. I just wanted to say, first of all, thanks, Pepe, for sharing your knowledge. I always like listening to you. And Unity, first time PulseUnity. What's up, bro? Hope all is well. Thanks for
We're good.
hosting.
Thank you for joining.
Awesome. So, my question. So, I have a YouTube channel. I'm number one. My biggest bag in my whole portfolio is Hex, and then second is PLSD. And I have a YouTube channel, and I want to find, like, how does anybody know how I could download this audio on Twitter, because I want to start regurgitating this content and uploading, up to YouTube as well. Does anybody know how I can rip this file from Twitter Spaces? Just curious.
DM me.
Okay, cool. I'll DM you. Maybe we could figure it out, because I got, my team could add like cool images and videos, and we can add the audio, and I want to help spread the word.
In honesty, the best way of doing it is don't bother. Wait for about another week's time and use our app, because you'll be able to record the whole thing off one place. But
Okay.
if you,
I have an alternative solution, Mr. Jet, and thank you for your kind words. It goes like this. Why don't we figure out when your next slot is,
Right.
and you schedule the general, and then you schedule me, and then you create your own content.
Okay.
that's awesome.
Fine.
That's an
Yeah.
awesome idea.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. So I'll make sure I DM you guys, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
All right. You say you're a Hexagon, so
Oh, for sure.
you have
Yeah.
Hex content?
I'm a Hexican.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
I
listening
sat in
back to
the
this.
Pulse chain main chat for a little over a year before starting the voice chat for Pulse Dogecoin. So I've been there to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we could talk all day long about Hex and Pulse chain and what's going on, and certainly Pulse Dogecoin.
Oh, that
So
sounds wonderful.
that's a
Does
direct.
that mean we've got to bring a picnic as well?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm gonna be on Corey Costa's
Yep.
YouTube channel on
Yep.
the 18th. So if you know
Cool.
Corey, he was just out in Las Vegas, which kind
Yep.
of slowed us down a little bit. But I'll be on his channel, so you can either schedule it before or after. It's up to you.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I actually talked to him as well. I wanted to do a little content clip on Pulse Pot, because he was talking about Pulse Pot. I sacrificed for that. Just other alternative things. See what everybody's doing.
I'm so glad you brought up Pulse Pop. We've been chatting about that all week, and
Oh, yeah.
it's so exciting
It
on the Pulse chain.
it seems interesting, because they also have like a little roulette thing, and now they're auctioning off, like, I think you get to own the table of PLSD or Hex or whatever. Is that what they're doing? It's like an auction, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was sat watching at 5 o'clock this morning in the UK, Superman's channel, and he did he actually did a little live demo of the Pulse Pot roulette wheel.
Oh,
And I'm pretty sure it was PLSD that you use but it's all on the pulsechain testnet. So all these projects, guys, they're great to just go and get involved and test them.
Check them out. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what we're here for.
Yep. Sounds good, guys. Thanks for hosting the space. Awesome stuff.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else that we can bring up?
Crypto looks like he wants to say something.
Hey guys, what's going on, man? I was just gonna chime in on the pulse spot. Pepe, you're doing a fabulous job informing me everything about Pulse Doge and Pulse Bitcoin. Just excited to be along for the ride. You need water.
So you know the game theory, Crypto, of the staking mechanic. I've got it all spreadsheeted out based on the little breadcrumbs that I know, and it's just going to bring an unbelievable amount of profit, because if in fact Pulse Bitcoin is as scarce as Bitcoin with 21 million in supply, that's pretty scarce. But what happens if the supply of Pulse Bitcoin is equal to the supply of Pulse Dogecoin? What happens then? I mean, if Bitcoin went up to $69,000 plus, and you've got a supply of 1/3 that amount, good Lord. Now, better yet, what happens if you have extreme scarcity and the supply is even less? Because we know that your tokens are going to be locked up on Pulse Dogecoin, right? So those are effectively taken off the market. So now all of a sudden, by you staking either directly or indirectly your Pulse Dogecoin, you're cutting the supply. So what happens if the average Pulse Dogecoin holder takes half his bag and stakes it, effectively locking it up for whatever the minimum period time is, right? And so half the supply is off the market. What happens to the tokens that are left in your wallet? Number go up and to the right. And then in order to get Pulse Bitcoin, you've got the mining token, which means that number is going to go up as well, because they're going to be very valuable, because you've got this extreme scarcity on Pulse Bitcoin, either 21 million, 6 million, or some other number. And in order to mint, right, this virtual mining rig, you could buy that directly at market. In fact, you'll likely be able to buy all three, either by buying Pulse Dogecoin and then locking it up for the mining token, which then gets you the Pulse Bitcoin, or you could go right to the end game if you think that Pulse Bitcoin is the one to have, or you could buy the mining token and just play that game. Or what you could do is not stake any of your Pulse Dogecoin and just hold your entire bag liquid and let everyone else stake it. And then numbers going to go up because the supply is going to be cut down dramatically. The words that our founder used when the question of deflation was brought to his attention was, it's not deflation, it's hyper deflation. So if you've got a fixed cap supply of 6 million and you've got a situation where hyper deflation is coming, good Lord, economic theory says the number's going up.
Pepe, love the
How are
alpha,
you,
man.
Zion?
Love the alpha. I'm doing well, man. I just wanted to go ahead and double up on the FOMO. I love the stats, but just want to let everybody know, what's going on with the market and what's trending. We see a bunch of mining tokens coming out, right? We see a bunch of validator tokens coming out, because this is what's happening with the merge. It's on everyone's mind. Everyone wants to go ahead and be ahead. right? They want to go ahead and what's going on with the Ethereum merge? Okay, what does it mean to be a validator? What's going on with proof of work, proof of stake, blah blah blah. So in the land of degens, there's a lot of these things coming out, and I just want to let you guys know I touched ground, saw some hexagons at PulseCon. There's a lot of people watching this coin. There's 2,300 people on Telegram. There's more people on Hexinfo's Twitter, and I don't know what y'all are doing, but I really hope y'all are DCAing and you have a comfortable bag and feel comfortable with what's going on with Pulse Doge, because, like I said, there's a lot of people watching, and all it takes is a little bit of oh, okay, I think I like what's going on there, and people are aware of what mining is now. It's not a foreign concept, especially with no coiners. They're going to come in, and the merge is literally on. It's going to be a newsworthy thing, and what the White House just dropped pretty much. I thought it was a very bullish paperwork, just with the whole entire electricity thing with Bitcoin and all of that. So, hey, do what you guys are going to do. Pepe's dropping some real stats. These are all speculative stats that I'm really dropping. It's just kind of trends. But we're going somewhere, and I think it's up and to the right.
Danny, thanks for that content, man. Tons of alpha. Let me say this about Danny. Danny runs our NFT program. We also have NFTs. And we also have something called socks, physical socks. And if you know anything about unisocks, then our program in that area should be somewhat familiar. I bought a pair of socks. I got 2 NFTs. I burned one NFT. I'm going to get a pair of socks for doing that. But I could right now sell my NFT or sell the NFT with my socks. And it's the most incredible program going. I mean, I don't know if you know, the Unisock price went up to it went up to $150,000. It's currently at $30,000 for a freaking pair of socks that don't look half as good as what Danny has come up with. Danny's socks have like the Louis Vuitton pattern. It's got the, depending on a sock, it's got some Richard Hart ecosystem logos on it. And it's just beautiful. Now, is it going to go up to $150,000 when it cost me, what, 256 PLSD for the pair?
Nothing.
I don't know.
Nothing.
But I do know that Danny is doing noble work. How do I know that? Because a portion of every donation for those socks goes to a creative. And the creatives finally have a way of monetizing their existence. So I just want to applaud Danny for what he's doing and the opportunity that he's giving creatives, because my lady is one of them, and she always just doesn't understand corporate America and why she just doesn't fit in, and she just wants to do what she's good at, and that's creating. So Danny, thank you.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. I sometimes forget what I'm even doing over here, just because I literally feel like it's just a consistency thing. It's one of those things where I'm just like, dude, there's been so many things that already set precedent, and I can really show you what's going on, but I mean, it's just join for the adventure, join for the ride. It's not even about a sureness thing. It literally is. It's like if you eat breakfast and you eat lunch and you eat dinner, you're gonna stay alive. It's kind of like that. It's like you just literally have to do 2 + 2 and it'll equal 4. So yeah, we're on this road, and it's been wild. That's why I'm excited about the staking. I'm excited about the Bitcoin stuff, and the luxury, like clothing and luxury goods market has forever been a thing. And with blockchain, we evolutionize it, and it's almost like, all right, well, my main focus, our main focus here has always been on the outside, and so that's why I'm always looking towards the outside, making collaborations with people, like just not even within the meme coin community, not even within crypto, just kind of dragging them into like, hey, check out what I'm doing, check out what we're a part of, and that's been my main focus. And luckily, there's been a hyper I guess it's been, I'm based out in LA, so I guess it's more sensitive out here, especially with the NFT market. So I'm able to make these connections kind of even more quickly, and I'm excited for that. But it's always a process. And dude, thanks for the show, Pepe. Yeah, no, we're we're doing things, man. There's a lot going on, and I guess to go on this point, if anyone is interested, my whole struggle with the sock thing and with this on this end has solely been with the creatives. It's been trying to get them to be excited about the opportunity here, and it's not even like, I don't know. It kind of blew my mind, this whole entire adventure, because I literally started not too long ago, and it's been 5 months, and I thought it was just going to be smooth, that was going to be easy, that I was going to be able to like say, hey, we got something good going on here, look at the chart speaks for itself, why wouldn't you want to be a part of it? And it has not been that way. It's been a struggle. Onboarding these artists has been it's been challenging. It's been really challenging. So this is this is what I want to do for the community, and this is how I want to spread the Pulse Doge name. And it's through art. And I think that the clothing and the things that we'll be able to make will always hold value. I think that people will want them. And we're doing this together. So if anybody has any ideas or thoughts about where we are heading, it's a community thing. So always hop in the Telegram, please. And yeah, I'll stop the show there.
Thank you, Danny. General, is there a fit? Because Danny is platform agnostic. Is there a fit with his NFTs and your platform?
There's a fit with absolutely any community and our platform. It's designed for. It's basically the Facebook but for crypto and DeFi. So if you've got groups and you want to come and just chill your work, we're Unity. We're Geneva in this space. We don't mind. You can. Well, I would say don't all rush in this afternoon, because we're literally rebuild. We've just sort of built over the platform to the new site. But by the end of this month, when we've finished with the launch of the coin and everything else, it will be ready for you guys. And the fits are there. I mean, I really touch on a couple of points you just mentioned, Danny, in NFTs. Our tech guys as well really focused in on not just the pictures but the use cases. And anyone that follows the news, the luxury market is very close to my heart. The big hotel groups, the big travel agencies, and these guys, NFTs are going to become their tickets. When you go to fashion shows and things like that, the NFTs are going to be what they send to your mobile phones. And obviously, these fashion houses and people like this, they collaborate with some of the best artists on the planet. I spent it was about 7-8 hours, as I was talking to our community the other day, on the phone with an artist planning out our Mission to Mars campaign. That there's a lot of work that goes into the back end of these projects, guys. And really, as Danny said, people do struggle to find these collaborations. They struggle to find sometimes the correct chat groups and things like that. So really, I guess if I'm shilling anything, it's really that we're trying to get this platform together that is open for everybody to be able to chat and talk about things, make it as easy as possible for us to communicate with each other on the platform, to create ways that you can sell merchandise and learn about crypto and all these bits. But again, I mean, I could do hours and hours and hours on this. But really, this afternoon, it's great. I mean, honestly, as many more people keep coming up, sharing, talk to the rest of the community about what you're doing. How can we get involved? If it's, as somebody else just said, you've got a YouTube channel and you're looking for speakers. If you want to come on to our channels and I've got a topic, let's get the conversation going, guys, and not be afraid to talk about each other's projects.
Zion, I think I saw your hand up earlier. welcome
Yeah.
into the chat.
Mhm.
What's on your mind?
Hi. Yeah, this is Zion Hart 33. I'm just, well, I'll use my slogan on my business card. Not your regular Uber driver. um, I love Pulse Doge. I came to it organically on Twitter, and I immediately recognized the beauty of the scarcity. I just want to thank you for hosting this spaces. It's really fun to hear some of your voices, um, and to hear the alpha from you, Pepe, especially. I'd like to direct a conversation, if I could, to maybe ask a little bit more about the concepts of thin liquidity pools, scarcity. If you could flesh that out a bit more, maybe a little more
Great
detail,
question.
talk a little bit more about maybe
Great
benevolent
question.
whales and sharks, pairing liquidity with perhaps Hex or PulseX, and how that may impact the price of Pulse Doge.
Sure. Broad topic, sir, but I'll try and eat it like an elephant, one bite at a time. So, thin liquidity is a two-edged sword. It means that small buys can move the number up a whole lot, and small sells can move the number down. And so, communities that have demand for their token can do very well. Our top four liquidity pools are USDC, Hex,
Right.
Hedron,
Pepe on
and
just fucking everything.
ICOSA, followed by the fifth one, which is Ethereum. So those are really the top five. And typically, when you're bonded in a liquidity pool with the other asset, the bigger asset tends to direct the price of the smaller asset. So if the bigger asset is going up, then the smaller asset tends to go up with it. Conversely, if it's going down, the asset will go down along with it. And so the strategy, rightly or wrongly, that we've had from the beginning is let's keep the liquidity pools thin. Let's have dramatic price increases. And, we're only about 150 days old, not quite. So in time, once we get through this hyper price appreciation phase of the staking mechanic launch, then the liquidity pools will likely get a lot fatter. But for now, we like a lot of volatility price wise. We think that's good for an asset that tends to go up.
So Hart's law is what you're basically referring to, and I'm just interested in hearing, what are the fundamentals about benevolent whales, who may or may not, hopefully may pair liquidity in such a way as to drive the price up of Pulse Doge, maybe at Pulse launch, what's likely to happen, etc.
All right. So I
How
have
could I
asked.
explain this? How could I explain this to my, my crypto interested Uber passengers? As I like last night, I was talking to one on the way to Park City. This guy is a hedge fund finance guy with a lot of money, and he had never heard of any of this RH stuff, and he was really excited because he found his career, it's taking too much of his time, and it's like, wow, this could be life changing. So I talk to these,
Good
a
shiver.
very diverse
Good
number of
shiver.
people all day long as in my Uber, and I'm just doing my little teeny part, and I of course want to know the fundamentals for myself to know what's likely to happen at launch.
Okay. So just so you know, I have asked Gunther to join us. Gunther
Oh, cool.
is one of the largest wallet holders in Pulse Doge.
Yeah.
He is also a liquidity provider, some of the bigger liquidity pools for Pulse Doge. And it would be awesome if he jumped in here and gave his perspective on it. So we'll sort of wait to see if he comes in. But let's start at the beginning here. So Hex is a better form of Bitcoin, right? With just a few tweaks of proof of work to proof of stake, and it acts as a certificate of deposit on the blockchain. So it creates great yield. It went up 10,000x in almost 2 years. And part of the reasoning behind that is it always had thin liquidity pools, and it was paired with Ethereum up until the adoption amplifier. After that episode, it then switched its primary pair to USDC. And so it enjoyed a meteoric rise because at the same time Ethereum was pumping, Hex was pumping. And Hex, being the smaller asset, leveraged the pump many times more than Ethereum because it's a much larger asset. So our lineage, our heritage dates back to the launch of Hex. A number of our major investors are Hexicans. What does that mean? Well, Hex as a community is known for delayed gratification, holding. And so a number of those large OGs that got in early to Hex have also decided to go in early on Pulse Doge. And uh, though there's not a formal agreement, you could say that they are working in unison to make sure that the largest bag holders don't dump on the heads of the community. And so they are sort of operating like the OA, right? The OA has never sold a token and dumped on the heads of the community in Hex, and these whales have operated the same way. So they're providing not only the liquidity but also the buy pressure necessary to keep this token going up, along with the rest of the community. But let's face it, you've got to swim with the whales. So if you examine how the whales in Pulse Dogecoin have operated, they've learned from Hex. They've learned that you don't dump at the bottom. You don't dump on the heads of the community. Because when you do that, you're also dumping against yourself with something called slippage. So they have all rallied around the flag. They're protecting the price, and we are all better off for it. And so when I take a look at what's going on with PulseChain uh, soon, with Pulse Dogecoin now, it's just a beautiful thing because I'm swimming with the whales. I know what the whales are doing. They're protecting the flag, protecting the price, and they've got the economic energy to pump into this thing. So we're in an accumulation phase with thin liquidity, and that's not a bug, that is a feature. It is designed to rapidly move the price up or down, mostly up. If you take a look at what the whales are doing, they tend to have liquidity pools above market. So there's very few tokens available at market. If you wanted a big position in this token, uh, you're either going to have to do an over the counter deal or make a series of small buys. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of slippage. And it doesn't take a whole lot. Like we have roughly 135,000 tokens total in all the liquidity pools. So times $3 or $4, you're talking about $500,000. Well, for a whale,
Mm.
that's not a lot of money. For breadcrumbers, it is.
These are the reasons why I love Pulse Doge. I mean, this is what got me in. Hearing Wolverine speak to Crypto Heartbeat on a YouTube video. So I love what you're saying. It pumps me up, and I'm really excited about the fact that we get the liquidity pools working in this fashion. So and you pair it with scarcity, and I think it's going to the moon eventually, especially at the launch of Pulse Chain.
Well, and don't forget, not only are we pairing it with scarcity, but the moment that the staking mechanic is launched, we're pairing it with deflation. So we're going to take the total supply from 6 million ish down to some number. It's going to be much lower, which is going to act like a vice, right? And
Hmm.
that's going to drive the price up. I mean, it's going to shoot up to the right. So, when's the time to invest in an asset? When it's new, when the herd haven't showed up yet, because when the herd shows up and the average breadcrumber knows about the opportunity, it's called pump chasing. It's too
Yeah.
late. You never want to chase the pump. Wayne Gretzky, hockey, the best hockey player of all time. Why was it he was always in the right place at the right time? Because he knew where the puck was going to be.
Yeah.
And the puck is going to be here if you have the courage of your conviction. So you better get here before the puck shows up.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Pepe, you are such a great host and co-host on this. Guys, is there anybody that's joined? Because I might need to invite you up as speakers. So, Pepe, is there anyone you can see that can't speak that needs to speak?
Well, I'm looking. I've invited a few people up to speak. Danny was one of them, I think.
Okay, cool. So you're able to control it a bit from your end as well. That's great.
Yes.
Perfect. While it's got a tiny bit quiet, just a little update because I've had a few DMs that come in, and just to answer a couple of questions on the Telegram channel that have popped up. One is with regards to our deadline. I'm not shilling our project. You guys go do your own research, but in terms of the clock that's on the site, the direct answer is we're going to be launching as soon as possible, because for those that know our project, the coin is part of the ecosystem of the website, and our dev team are building that out and coming out with all sorts of things for that. So it's actually being pushed more by the devs than us. Or the market, because they need the coin to build the internal currency system. So, guys, if anyone that wants to get involved with that, there are some things going on. I'm not particularly going to push it, but if you do want to get involved with that, I would get involved before we close that, because I'm just not promising that it won't get closed even as early as middle of next week. That's the only shield I'm going to put on that. If you've got any other direct questions, please DM me, and we'll try and answer those as soon as we can for you. One more question for yourself, Pepe. Again, because it's so great to have Pulse DogeCoin here with us, and it really is good for us as in sort of providing this PULSEUNITY social platform, to have the #1 meme coin of Pulse Doge with us talking and giving us so much great knowledge and education. This is very rare to get this on a Saturday in an AMA. What more have you, or have you guys got any roadmaps towards Web3, developing anything with metaverses or anything like that that you could share? Okay, 3285. I've just made you a speaker. I don't know if Pepe did as well. Would you like to come up and talk?
Boy, I just gave you a wonderful answer, and I had my mic off. I sincerely apologize. Anyway,
Okay,
I'm not a
so
dev. I'm not a dev. I am a humble investor that just recognizes a superb opportunity, and I'm just sharing awareness about what's coming. And I mean, at the end of the day, you need ROI and you need yield. And we're going to be delivering that in spades. Our track record in the 5 months that we've been up has been superb. We're up 300 to 400% in this bear market. Despite all the headwinds, I mean, Bitcoin is down, 60, 70%, Ethereum down over 50%. Just think of what your portfolio would look like if it were up 300 or 400%. And I can tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the tsunami is coming with this staking mechanic. Do not let this pass you by. And what I mean by that is educate yourself. Come into the Telegram room, learn, ask questions, because it doesn't happen often that really two things are going on. One is you can get there before the herd because it's new and the herd hasn't showed up yet. Second, you can actually become a whale in a project. I was looking at the bag holders in Pulse Doge, and you could be a top 50 wallet for about $70,000. A $70,000 investment gets you in the top 50. Imagine if you were a top 50 wallet in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, in Hex. I mean, the opportunity is enormous. And all the guys that made all the money in Bitcoin and Ethereum and Hex and every other layer 1 and every other successful layer 2 got in early with significant economic energy to the best of their ability. You do that, and financial freedom ensues. It's inevitable. You just have to do the research. And I am letting you know now, as a boomer, that this is it. This has the brand marketing. DOGECOIN, #1 most searched for meme coin, and crypto overall, right? Bitcoin, #2 overall. And let me tell you this about Dogecoin. It has more searches for it every month than the number 2, 3, and 4 cryptos combined. So when we say Pulse Dogecoin, which will be available on PulseChain day 1, it will rip faces off, because you can't get Dogecoin on the Pulse chain, but you can get Pulse Dogecoin.
Okay, so 3285, are you speaking?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Excellent. I just wanted to thank the PULSEUNITY community and the Pulse Doge community and Pulse Doge Exchange for hosting this AMA. Look forward to learning about the PulSEUNITY project. I'm a big fan of the Pulse Doge project. Really like the stocks. It was nice to hear Pulse Doge Exchange talk about those earlier. I've got a few of those, and very excited for that project. I'm very excited for Pulse Dogecoin in particular because of the scarcity, and most importantly because Pepe's a part of the project. I've been a fan of his for a long time over in the Pulse Chain Telegram, and he lends a lot of credence, knowledge, and expertise. I see nothing but great things for this project. Thank you for letting me speak.
Oh, for sure. Have you got any sort of specific things that we could maybe address whilst we've got you in the room?
I do want to learn more about the Pulse Bitcoin, the staking, and the mining token. I've been trying to tune into some of the voice chats and learning a little bit about those. I know there's not much information because Hex Info hasn't released it yet. Really, the only questions I have pertain to that, so I'll have to probably wait till Hex Info releases the information. But thank you.
Yeah, what we know right now is that there will be 3 tokens, maybe 4 with what USCG Vet is doing, in the Pulse Doge ecosystem. And you're going to take your Pulse Dogecoin, somehow lock it up, burn it for the mining token at at some rate. We don't know if it's 1-for-1 or some other number, but you stake your mining token to mint Pulse Bitcoin. And we know the supply of Pulse Bitcoin will start at 0, and the price of it's going to start at 0. And then a liquidity pool is going to be started, and then a price for the market will be established. But the buy pressure on that is going to be enormous because it's a new token with a scarce supply, though we don't know what the total supply is, but it's likely going to be scarce, and the demand is going to be off the charts. So when you combine a tight supply with scarcity, right, with increasing demand, it drives the price up. Now, driving the price of Pulse Bitcoin up is then going to drive the price of Pulse Dogecoin up, because in order to get the miners, you're either going to have to buy it at market or stake your Pulse Dogecoin for the mining tokens, and it somehow gets locked up. We don't have that level of detail yet, but I am here to tell you that there's no other opportunity on the board right now where you've got 3 brand new tokens that are all designed to pump each other in a positive way through scarcity. The mere fact that you've got a fixed cap supply of Pulse Dogecoin, deflationary, means that you will have a fixed number of mining tokens. Logically, that has to be the case. So demand is going to go through the roof for that as well, because when you combine a fixed supply with enormous demand and the fact that there's going to be a halving event with some frequency, we don't know if it's 6 months, a year, 2 years, it could be 5 years. We don't know. We know Bitcoin's halving event is every 4 years, and that drives the entire crypto market. So we think that the halving event is going to cut the rate of minting for Pulse Bitcoin in half. So here's an interesting game theory
We are going to
that
do
I've
it
been
here.
working on. If in fact the number of Pulse Bitcoin you get per given a certain amount of mining tokens is cut in half every so often, let's just say it's every year. It could be every 2 years. I don't know. But let's just say it's every year. That means to keep an equivalent number of Pulse Bitcoin coming into your wallet, you'll need to figure out a way to get twice as many mining tokens as what you had pre-halving event. So that then means more buy pressure for Pulse Dogecoin, or more buy pressure for the staking token, right? So this situation all feeds itself. A rising tide lifts all boats. Listen, I'm the product of the Virginia public school system. Even I get the notion that fixed supply, deflationary supply, scarce supply, and a very easy metric to sort of understand. You buy more Pulse Dogecoin, you get more mining tokens that mint more Pulse Bitcoin tokens. It's not hard to figure out that Pulse Bitcoin likely will end up more valuable, the most valuable one, because that's what people are going to want, right? Now, along the way, in order to get those Bitcoin, you've got to have the mining token. In order to get the mining token, you need Pulse Doge. They're all connected at the hip. It's a beautiful system. I can't wait until I learn of all the details. But at a high level, that's everything that HexInfo has released.
Thank you, Pepe.
You're welcome,
6.5 hours.
3285, anytime.
There's some really great questions coming in this afternoon, and I don't know how you feel, Pepe. We've been going on for quite some time, but I could go on for at least another 2 hours. Although we do have to have lunch here. in the UK, or dinner. Guys, does anybody else really have a lot more to say, or have we got questions to come up, or can I invite a couple of closing statements to go on?
I think it's time to wrap it up, General.
Absolutely. Well, Pepe, let me just say from my side, it's been an absolute pleasure to have yourself. I mean, it's been fascinating, really. I'm learning myself a tremendous amount about the Pulse chain, about the different communities every day, the people, the different investment opportunities, how to work that into what we're going to be building as the social network, and giving us great ideas and our team great ideas for really the future of for ourselves, because we want to be around for the next million years with you and on that ride. So I'd like to leave the last final words with yourself, Pepe. Thank you again for yourself, your community, for coming over to join us. Please like, follow, retweet, go and spread the word. That is, of course, Pulse Chain, Pulse Dogecoin, PULSEUNITY, and basically bringing, from my side, unity in DeFi, and creating from these small groups. It's amazing that on a Saturday afternoon, when a lot of voice chats are sat empty in crypto, and trust me, they are. We've managed to get 26 or more, 27, the number keeps going up, people into this fantastic room this afternoon with this level of quality people, being able to talk cross community and really get some fantastic knowledge. So again, as the host, I'd like to really say thanks to you, Pepe, thanks to your community, and leave the last words to yourself, really.
Okay, thank you, General. And the feeling is mutual. So kindly allow me to let you know a little bit more about my journey. Yeah, I've been very fortunate as an investor, but I've been even more fortunate in life. Last October, October 29th to be exact, my lady and I were walking into the Rolling Stones concert, and I collapsed, had a massive heart attack, a widowmaker, and somehow the good Lord decided that it wasn't my time. And so it has been a mission of mine to give back to communities. I sat in a Pulse Chain chat for over a year. I've now sat in the Pulse Dogecoin chat for the better part of 3 months. And I can tell you that anyone who has questions about operational security, hardware wallets, Hex, Pulse, PulseX, Pulse Dogecoin, whatever. I am here to help. I had one lady who threatened to commit suicide because she was so financially distraught that she thought her life was ending, and she threatened to take her life. And I walked her off that ledge. This is why I am here. I am not shilling. I am trying to share an opportunity that I have come across, that I'm telling you, if you get in early, you can create generational wealth. Do not mistake my words. They come from the heart. I I have been blessed financially, and it kills me to see so many people that have lost money in the crypto market. You know, there's over 20,000 of these things. How do you choose the good ones from the bad ones? Well, I gave you that framework up front. Get a copy of this and listen to it, and listen to my words, because they're true. They're not manipulative. They aren't. They are designed to enlighten. And whether you follow my process and procedure or not, or one very similar. Follow a disciplined process. I'll tell you this. I mentioned the crypto market cycle theory earlier, but what I didn't tell you was those investors that are in their first bear market, they think their world is ending. You want to know how I feel? I feel like it's the golden opportunity to create wealth. And I don't mean a little bit, I mean a lot. What do I mean by it? I mean that if you've identified the right assets and you know that they're going to go up, invest hip deep in them because you're buying them on sale. It's like walking into a store and seeing the assets that you like at 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% off. Now, some look like donkeys, but you're looking for the donkey that most looks like a racehorse, a thoroughbred, right? So pick the one that most looks like a horse and you're going to be fine. But in order to do it, you have to strip out emotion. Now, if you're a galaxy brain, it's fairly easy to strip out emotion. And you know what? You can strike it rich in one 4-year cycle. If you're an average, above average investor, I've got stark news for you. It's going to take you 2 cycles because you're going to be just captured by your emotions. You're going to want to FOMO in. You're going to want to FOMO out. You're going to want to chase a pump. Elon tweeted about something. So well, if Elon did it, then yeah, he's smarter than I am. So I'm going to go follow him. No, 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 no. You make your own decisions. And so above average people can generally create wealth in 2 cycles. That's 8 years. For those that haven't wrung the emotion out of their bodies and their minds and their brains, it may take 3 cycles. You need to identify who you are as an investor and then take the appropriate action. If you FOMO in, if you chase pumps, if you listen to the word of someone like an Elon Musk, you're not going to make it. You're really not. And you're going to go through 3 grueling bear markets. I've got scars all over my body from the bear market. I can tell you this. Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed, at the end of this month is going to raise interest rates by 75 basis points. You've heard about the cascading liquidations, right? With 3AC, 3 Arrows Capital. You've Celsius. You've no doubt seen the price action of Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're down 50, 70%. And guess what? Bitcoin hasn't capitulated yet. The bottom of the market's not in. Bitcoin's going lower, and likely it's going to happen in the next 1 to 2 months. That's the time to accumulate. Wealth is not created in a bull market. Wealth is created in a bear market. I am telling you, you need to have the courage of your conviction to identify the correct assets and invest in them as hard as you can. And you need to dollar cost average. Don't go all in until you understand what a dip is and what a tip is. Never buy the tip, always buy the dip. And now is a great time. This is where the next batch of multimillionaires will be made if and only if you have the conviction. So with that, I wish everybody well, and I look forward to seeing you at the top. General, I'm going to run along. Thank you again.
Again, Pepe, thank you to yourself. Thank you to your community for coming. I've had a few DMs from our community. You come out with some very, very wise words, very great advice. That's what we are all about as a community, sharing our knowledge, making sure that we're looking out for people, protect your investments, and but the reason I like the meme sort of coins is because we should always have fun with our lives as well. And of course, there's a serious side to finance. Memes is a way of sort of making that a little bit more fun. But as Pepe said, don't just get tied down to emotion. Don't get just caught up in FOMO. Do some research into the projects and see whether or not, even if basically whether or not it's for you. And you'll find your communities, you'll find your investments, and those will stay with you for a very long time. So really